Welcome to the Corporate Treasury 101 podcast. This is the third and final part of our full interview with Andrew Winders from FIS, where we will discuss about the pros and cons of their treasury management system, Integrity. Andrew is a senior manager at FIS with a deep expertise in one of FIS core products, the treasury management system called Integrity. FIS is a behemoth in financial products and services and offers a broad range of treasury services and softwares. In the episode of today, expect to learn how is FIS prioritizing real-time data integration in treasury operations, whether FIS is actively building APIs with banks and markets data providers, what are the key synergies when combining Integrities with other FIS products, how user-friendly is Integrity when integrating with products from other vendors, how does FIS gather and use customer feedback from Integrity development, and, like always, much more. This series of episodes is a bit the first of its type. Most of the episode is about FIS and their solution. But we thought it would be interesting to deep dive into a treasury management system with somebody very knowledgeable about it from the very company providing it. So please let us know what you think about it and if you would like more of this type of episodes in the future or not. If that is the case, and when you're thinking about how you found our podcast, chances are that it was through word of mouth, social media, or a recommendation from your favorite podcast platform. And this is our only request to you. Please leave us a review if you enjoyed the episode on your favorite podcast platform. It only takes 5 seconds, will help other people learn more about treasury, and this will mean the world to us. On another note, this episode is brought to you by Automation Boutique. Automation Boutique is empowering treasury, finance, and risk management with tailored automation solutions. They use robotic process automation, or PA, AI, APIs and Power Query to create automations that can work with your existing systems. We partnered with Automation Boutique as we really like their approach to innovation and how they help the industry. For this partnership, they came up with an AI-powered automation self-scan that can help you find out if a business process is suitable for automation and how to best get started. It is totally free, non-intrusive, and only takes about 15 minutes. What's great is that the report you will get from the scan helps you determine if the benefits of the automation outweigh the costs. If you want to have a look, head to the link in the description or to automationboutique.com/corporate treasury 101. With all that being said, please welcome Andrew Winders.
Makes a lot of sense. So perhaps not the hardest TMS to implement, but still a little bit of work. And you'd probably need the person internally that has good connection with the right stakeholders to be able to make sure that they drive the change in behavior to meet and make the most of the new software capabilities that you'd be implementing in that stage. Andrew, take us past Integrity then. So I think that's a really good overview, and I think we've covered pretty well what Integrity is good for and specifically why a treasury department would implement it and how it would go about doing that. Tell us a little bit more about the other offerings that FIS has. So you mentioned about Quantum. You mentioned that Quantum is the more customizable solution that FIS has. It's not, let's say, cloud-based. It's locally deployed into the company's infrastructure. What other differences would you say about Quantum versus Integrity? Is it just customization and SaaS element, or are there other differences that might drive a company towards one or the other?
Yeah, so just to be clear on the hosting, so Quantum can be hosted, it's just not a SaaS application, that's all. So it's dedicated hosted infrastructure for the customer. But Quantum is an extremely capable treasury tool. So as an example, Integrity will do the breadth of treasury workflow. Quantum will, of course, also do the breadth of treasury workflow, but to a very, very deep level. So as a simple example, if you want to run a value at risk calculation, there's one methodology which Integrity will offer. Quantum will give you 3 methodologies. If you want to capture option portfolios, Integrity has vanilla option portfolio capability. Quantum can offer a much more sophisticated level of financial instrument. So it really does go to a very, very sophisticated level of treasury management. So it's a tool which the world's largest, most complex treasury organizations utilize, and therefore it offers many, many options in terms of how you will utilize the capability and the functionality of Quantum. So it's a very powerful tool, offers a high degree of customization, but also with natural functionality goes to a very, very advanced level.
Okay, so it's more heavy duty tool for the company that wants to take the treasury department more seriously.
Yeah, correct. Yes, correct. Yes. I wouldn't tell our integrity customers that they don't take their training seriously. No, just, yeah.
Okay, very, very interesting. So, sorry, then, can we expand just a little bit more on that hosting point then? Because I'm interested now. So, my understanding, and this is Corporate Treasury 101, no one's afraid of not knowing stuff on this show. So, that's the whole point of why people listen. So, my understanding was that when you say SaaS, you say that, and this isn't really a treasury topic, but generally, when you say SaaS, you say that the software is, let's say, web-based, for example, right? There'd be an online portal, I'd log in, that software and my data would be hosted somewhere in FIS or FIS-owned servers, which I would then just be tapping into, and then I wouldn't have to invest in my own infrastructure, my own servers, etc. I just need a really good internet connection. Did I get that part right?
That's correct. Yes, it's a true SaaS multi-tenant application. Yeah.
Okay. And then that's what I understood about Quantum was that, no, I would have to host it in my servers. So I'd have to buy servers that were capable of hosting it with databases that were capable of hosting all the data. And then I would have it internally, and I'd get to, some would say I'd get to own my data better, or I'd have full ownership of my data. What's the other part?
No, so Integrity's multi-tenant hosting in a SaaS environment. We can still host all Quantum customers in FIS infrastructure, but it's not multi-tenant hosting. So if you're not sharing servers effectively, all the infrastructure is dedicated to you as a customer. You have your own private hosting environment, whereas in Integrity, it's multi-tenant, multiple customers on servers. But that being said, there's obviously the demand from the market is to move all solutions to a SaaS type deployment. So there's strategies across all of our products to enable that going forward.
So the Quantum can be hosted on FIS servers, but in a dedicated server to that customer only, whereas Integrity or the typical SaaS model. Well, so does that mean like I can't delay? So my laptop is very far behind on its iOS updates, because it's my laptop, it's my server, right? I'm bad at it, and I brought the benefits of it and also the costs of it, right? But does that mean that like an Integrity server, if you guys choose to update, everyone gets pushed the same update? On a Quantum, I guess I have more ownership.
That's correct. That's
what time works for me.
That's well explained. Exactly that. So on Integrity there are 2 releases a year, and the release schedule is fixed, and every customer will receive that release at the same time. Whereas with the Quantum customers, they have much more control over when the new release will be applied to their environment.
And like also, and again, I think everyone could trust FS's infrastructure, but if the Integrity server goes down, everyone goes down at the same time.
That's correct, right? But every Integrity customer by default gets access to a production environment, a preview test environment, and a disaster recovery environment. So there's immediate guaranteed failover from production to disaster recovery if something should ever happen to our production environment.
And I think that also means because now you got us, Andrew, so now we are hooked into the Quantum hosting SaaS whole discussion. But I believe that also means that when a company needs to update or have a review on this Quantum system, they will need to go through not a whole implementation, but quite a heavy process, whereas Integrity would be seamlessly updated. Am I correct in that? Or
Yeah, so the integrity process is a seamless update with all of the, so the new version will get loaded onto the preview test environment well in advance, so the customers can look at the new version, new functionality, the new capability with all the documentation that goes with that. When a customer on Quantum chooses to go through their upgrade, there is a hand-holding process effectively where our professional services will simply walk the customer through the new functionality so they're aware of how it works, and there may be a little bit of testing based on what's been delivered if it's relevant to the customer, so that they then become live on their production environment.
Awesome. Thank you, Andrew, for going down that rabbit hole with us. That's often,
Please, no more rabbit holes.
No, we've got plenty of treasury topics to cover as well. We don't have to go into computing infrastructure just yet. Super cool. But I mean, I guess a little bit on the computing infrastructure point, Andrew, the real-time data, right? That's something that's super relevant for all treasurers in all industries, across all industries nowadays. Data is becoming a lot more seamless. We have access to more real-time data. People see the immediate benefits of that as well. You mentioned APIs earlier and how you guys only deploy ready-to-go APIs. APIs being this technology that's sort of revolutionized our ability to connect different systems to each other and get that real-time data. What's the overall trend of TMSs towards real-time data, and how is FIS expanding its capabilities there?
So I think to begin with, it was a bit of a buzzword, if we're all honest. Lots of people talking about it, not everybody really understanding the value behind it. But the more that the topic has evolved and the more that technology has evolved and the APIs can become part of a standard connectivity offering, the more important it is to make everything as close to real time as possible. So as an example of that, we rolled out the ability to connect an accounting entry from Integrity to an ERP via API. And you sort of thought initially, well, what's the point of sending an accounting entry in real time? Who cares? But when it gets to the end of the month and the accountants tell you we're under so much pressure to close the books now in T+2, for example, and it used to be T+5, any speed of process has huge value on that internal sort of drain of resource and pressure to get things done. So there's the element of efficiency gains from real time, but then there's also the element of making far better use of data. So if you are receiving bank statements in real time, not everybody needs it. It's not, you're not literally receiving a new statement every second, obviously, but it's kind of like as you need it, it's available. You're calling your bank and it's in real time, your statement is available. And when you can consolidate all of that information in real time, so there's two elements to real time. One is getting the data from source system into the Treasury platform. And then the other element of real time is having that information immediately available to the user. So again, I'd say that's one of our differentiators, because whether it's online reporting, alerts, having the ability to create reports yourself on data that's just been received in the last second, there is no time lag in the integrity reporting. So can't talk for all other vendors out there, but with Integrity, you can literally create reports and guarantee you're looking at the latest information, which is really important. So that just means, I mean, when I think back to when I was in Treasury, my latest report would be my Friday bank statement and yesterday's information from my subsidiaries, if they'd been bothered to send me anything. And today, that information is immediately there. When you're looking to manage overdraft facilities, counterparty exposure, optimizing credit facility headroom, all those sorts of things, then the impact on fees and general costs that the Treasury team need to absorb. Over a year, that can be significantly reduced if you use data appropriately.
That makes lots of sense, Andrew. Thank you so much for that. We touched upon quantum only, and well, obviously for the sake of the time of this episode, and you mentioned it earlier, we're not going to dive into all the solutions and softwares that FIS has to offer, even to the treasurers. But let's assume, which I trust is the case, that it also has a payment factory in the name of Trax, for instance, or bank connectors, or any other systems. I would believe one of the advantages to go with an FIS solution would be to have synergies, right, between the different systems. So do those synergies exist? Like, are there certain of them or benefits obtained when combining integrity with other products from FIS? Is there such a thing?
Yeah, indeed. So the only two products you would never combine are integrity and quantum. Apart from that, products fit with one another. So as an example of that, so obviously many people in the market, especially those who are payments experts, will have heard of Trax. Trax has evolved into a payment hub, and the payment hub can be the automated connectivity process and library that's going to immediately be able to connect your customer our customer to the bank with the right routing, right formatting, right protocols, so that payments become as efficient as possible. And that is both, whether you are connecting either Treasury platform. So what that means is Integrity has embedded payments capability and can connect directly to the bank. And the payment hub that is now delivered utilizing Trax as a service can also benefit, like say, our quantum user base. So we now have a tool that can sit across integrity or quantum that basically facilitates immediate bank connectivity from a library approach. So that is what that is doing, is taking the best from all of our bits of technology and basically embedding connectivity to ensure that the customer's experience is as simple and as seamless as possible. So if a customer comes and says, I need to make payment, I've got banks all over the world and I need to make payments in all the local formats and processes that each country insists on, well, we now have a library structure that's going to facilitate our ability to do that. So whether it's Trax and the payment hub with quantum, with integrity in its embedded payment capability and the payment library, but then evolving even further than that. So we've mentioned things like market data products and money market portals and so on. But then we have other customers who use our Get Paid solution for their order to cash process and driving the speed to account in a much more expedited way. So having the ability to integrate from an order to cash system, so that from a treasury point of view, not only do you have control of your treasury process, you have control of your payables process, but now you also have visibility into your expected receivables. So rather than your receivables number being something that you can't really rely on, you hope it's accurate, but you don't really know, all of a sudden you've got a solution that the receivables team within the organization can use to drive the order to cash process and for it to be much more efficient, and to extract that data and to use that within the treasury decision making. So there's lots of tools within FIS that really, obviously not every tool is relevant to every organization, but there's a range of capability that the customer can select depending on the business need within their treasury organization.
Makes lots of sense. Okay. And so to continue in that vein of maybe the little bit more challenging questions, Andrew, and to wrap up this episode. So some of the main ERP vendors also often offer integrated treasury modules, right? So are there benefits and or drawbacks to selecting a separate TMS system, such as Integrity? Or will there be stuff that indeed Integrity cannot do because it's not directly part of the ERP system?
Yeah, so a quick answer is there are many benefits to selecting a dedicated treasury platform such as Integrity. But I'll explain why. I'm not being facetious. I'll explain why I say that. It's very much around, we see ourselves as a direct partner to an SAP or a Dynamics or an ERP. And that's because we see the value the ERP brings is significant. It's very sophisticated. It does the actual ERP role very, very well. When it comes to treasury, ERPs evolved into Treasury. And so the Treasury application, or the feedback from the market, is that the Treasury applications generally do not give the same level of Treasury sophistication because it was not originally designed to be part of the overall architecture. And sometimes the hosting isn't quite as efficient as a true SaaS application. So there's various reasons as to why an ERP would not work for a Treasury organization. And part of that as well, even though Treasury solutions can offer a lot, they are standardized offerings. So implementation is generally very straightforward, as we've discussed. That isn't always the case with an ERP Treasury application. But that is also why we embarked on this strategy of ERP connectivity. So we have a tool that's embedded into both Integrity and Quantum as an ERP connector. So if we have a customer that's an SAP user, we can simply connect to SAP for their posting of accounting journals, for forecast information, for payments that need to be made, for example, via the API. So we're not trying to position ourselves against the ERPs. We're actually trying to actively work with the ERPs and complement what they do on their side.
So I have to say, Andrew, that you're very good at turning challenging questions into positive answers. So also for that. A last one for you. Obviously, customers' feedback is one of the most important aspects, right, for people and system vendors and overall companies who want to improve their services, improve their products, go above and beyond. With something as heavy as a TMS, I'm thinking first Integrity, where you'd have multiple clients' feedback, but then only one version of the product. So if you update it for one or multiple clients asking for something, you're also updating it for all the clients who didn't ask for that additional feature or removal or something. But maybe even for Quantum, where when a feedback would mean, oh yeah, but just customize it further. How does FIS takes customer feedback into account for the development of new features or fixing of bugs or whatever it might be when it comes down to customers' feedback?
So in terms of development and what goes into the roadmap, we have a tool that is available to all of our customers where customers can freely add in their own ideas. What do I want to see in Integrity? And then customers also have the ability to vote. So if you put an idea into our ideas toolbox, I might see it, I might like it, I'll vote on it, somebody else might vote on it. If it gathers momentum, that will go up the priority list into our development queue. So we actively encourage our customers to become part of the assessment of what should be going on to the roadmap. Obviously, in addition to that, there's general market expectation, regulation, all the usual things which will dictate a roadmap. So that's part of it. We want our customers to be engaged, but we also make sure that we have sessions, face-to-face sessions with our customers. So we've been to a number of cities during the year this year, met locally with the customer groups within those countries, and literally have closed door sessions. Some of those sessions we will sit outside for a couple of hours and say to the customer group, you just discuss what you want, what you like, what you don't like. It's not always about functionality. It could be about anything. It could be about, I had an issue with my help desk, or it could be about any topic at all. And we're quite open to discussing all those points, obviously. But when it comes to, if like you mentioned, there was a bug, for example, we have very, very strict SLAs within our organization. We can resolve all issues, I'd like to think, pretty efficiently, because we have this SaaS operations team run from London that is our customer support and our infrastructure support. So all tickets come through, whether it's, piece of functionality might not be doing what a customer thinks it ought to be doing. Maybe there's an issue on the infrastructure somewhere, somebody can't log in for some reason. Whatever the issue is, it comes through to our support center. And depending on the level of severity, will dictate exactly how much resource gets applied to that. If it's literally can't log in, well, that's business critical. So we aim to resolve that in an extremely sharp time frame. If it's something that, I need an additional field on my report, or the name isn't quite right or something, and it's not really a functional problem, then that's obviously a lower priority, and then that's sort of given a bit longer to resolve. So we drive contact with the customers at a roadmap level. We drive contact with the customers at a face-to-face level, just to literally discuss. And we also support all those discussions with our SLAs that we agree with the customers when they come on as a customer.
Andrew, thank you so much for taking us through all of that. Is there anything that you would like to share about any of the topics we've touched on that perhaps you didn't get the opportunity to talk about?
No, I think we've covered a lot. I think we could fill another exactly the same time frame again, going into a bit more detail on some of these things. But I mean, it's just a very exciting place to be. FIS has got a lot of products. It's an acquisitive organization, so we're always sort of looking at new things to bring to the market and to our customers. So, as we've discussed, partly developed, partly working with partners, solution partners. So as far as I'm concerned, FIS is the leading fintech for many reasons.
Super good. That means we've done our job well then. No, don't tempt us with the second episode. We'll hold you to that for sure. Awesome. So just to close up then, Andrew, if our listeners want to hear more about you, Integrity, Quantum, TMS solutions overall offered by FIS, where should they go? What's the best point of contact?
So very welcome to reach out to me. I'm on LinkedIn, as you'd expect. So very, very easy to reach out to me, or to send me an email, andrew.winders@fisglobal.com. Or on the FIS website, there's the ability to contact FIS directly, and then the relevant business line will respond. But very happy to just connect with all of your listeners in any way they wish.
Awesome. We'll have a link to your LinkedIn in the show notes.
Right then.
Andrew, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.